store, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
So in an interesting turn of events, it turns out that if you whine about something enough, you will eventually get it. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm feeling kind of foolish.
Foolish?
Yeah, I mean, last week I opened up with like, we're on day 72.
Oh,
Boba Fett trailer.
Right.
And literally like our show release day was the day the trailer came out.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that was foolish.
Right. Well, yeah. I just want to say I don't want you to give my kids that game plan. Whine enough and then you get it. No, that's not how it works.
Funny.
Yeah, of course.
I guess for me, right? Like,
yeah.
Not for you. Yeah. So it's here.
It is.
It's here. Literally the days after we talk about it.
Yeah.
So wild how that works out.
I know.
But hey, it's the way it goes. I mean, even if we would have released on the spot, right, it would have been like just a couple days before, so we still would have looked like jackasses.
Right.
Like, you're impatient.
We're not. I should say that we're kind of used to this, right?
Yeah, actually, that's pretty much how it goes.
It is.
Like, hey, where the hell is this? Here it is. Like, I hold off on complaining about it, and then finally just break, and it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. I love it.
All right, so this trailer, this is an interesting trailer, right? It's got some visuals, right?
Sure. Yep.
There's some things that are cool to see, but I really think this is a dialogue heavy trailer.
Agreed.
I think that the meat is in the dialogue. It's interesting dialogue. It really raises a lot of questions for me.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to do is let's play the audio from the trailer, and we'll just listen to the audio only. I know this seems weird, but with this one, it just seems appropriate. Because the dialogue's the important stuff here, at least for our conversation. Right. And we'll discuss.
I am not a bounty hunter. I've heard otherwise. I know that you sit on the throne of your former employer. Jabba ruled with fear. I intend to rule with respect.
You were all once captains under Jabba the Hutt.
I'm here to make a proposal that's mutually beneficial. Why speak of conflict when cooperation can make us all rich?
What prevents us all from killing you and taking what we want?
If you had spoken such insolence to Jabba, he'd have fed you to his menagerie.
Please, speak freely.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So first off, it leads off with, I'm not a bounty hunter.
Right.
What?
Exactly. This is something that I think they put that right out in front there to make us question that.
Right.
You know? So I think what he's really saying is, I'm not going to be a bounty hunter anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I took that too, but it's like, I'm not a bounty hunter. It's like, I'm pretty sure you're famous for being a bounty hunter.
Yeah, exactly.
But hey, okay. Okay. So next up, so we're going to be seeing, how did you phrase it to me earlier? Like Boba the Benevolent?
Oh. I might have said like a benevolent dictator or something, but
Right.
yeah, the leading through respect as opposed to fear.
Yeah. Now, I don't really take Boba Fett as that kind of guy.
Exactly.
I could see him not wanting to be a Iron Fist kind of guy that's just going to get rid of people for, disobedience necessarily.
Right.
Especially if they're a useful asset.
Right.
But if someone is useless and doing nothing but trying to undermine or something like the group,
Yeah.
I could see that being where the like ruling through fear thing kind of taking over.
Yeah.
Like there's a line, so once you get to this point, yeah, I'm gonna kill you.
Right. So what I'm getting here from that, in even with just the audio, it's this part, the visuals help, but I'm getting the sense of a classic mob boss meeting, right? They're all sitting around the table having a nice meal. Now let's get down to business. I got something to talk about. And you got the one guy that's kind of pushing back, right? I got a feeling this guy is going to be made an example of. In one way, form or fashion,
Right.
But I just get that vibe from that whole part of the trailer,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it could be that, Fennec Shan, she's kind of like up and on her feet while everyone else is sitting down, and this could be like a scene out of what was it, Scarface? Was that the movie? No, not Scarface. I'm thinking Untouchables. That's it.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that could be what they're going for, but
I mean, my thoughts here are kind of contradictory to what Bo was talking about, But do we take him at his word here? I mean, it's Boba Fett, Really, we because the character is who the character is, we don't have enough background for him yet.
yeah, I mean, we don't know jack about the character. Let's be real.
Right. At least as an adult. So it's, the mystery's still there. We're going to find out, but that's kind of where we're at right now.
But I mean, he was kind of a hot-headed teenager, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
So it's an interesting, I mean, maybe death has changed him.
Right.
I mean, he was always kind of cool in the OT,
Right.
when he was around. But every moment where it seemed like something was going, I mean, he was quick to the blaster, right?
Oh, sure.
So it wasn't oh wait, let's see what's going on here. No, this blaster's drawn, dude.
Yep.
I guess he wasn't quick to fire, but he was quick to arms.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess you're absolutely right, and that really kind of derails any further discussion. 'Cause I guess we don't really know anything about the character. He's got very limited dialogue,
Right?
limited screen time.
I mean, we've gotten more dialogue out of Boba Fett and The Mandalorian than we have in most of the rest of Star Wars. But I don't know. I don't know. He's playing this character though. He's playing it well. Right? He came in. He took Jabba's palace back, I guess, or no, took it over, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's switching roles in a way, I guess. Maybe that's what that that I am not a bounty hunter up front is all about. Maybe this is them telling us, this isn't what we're going to be seeing Boba Fett doing now. Now it's going to be more of a crime syndicate leader.
Okay. So I want to change gears a little bit and switch to the visuals.
Okay.
Okay. And the one thing that sticks out to me visually is we have reached a point now where Boba Fett is going to be without his helmet a lot.
Yeah, it appears so.
When fighting. But it looks like it might be a staple in the throne room.
Right.
What do you think of that? What do you make of that? Like, granted, we only see what looks like 2 sequences where he's going to be in combat.
Right.
But, and I took it as 2 separate sequences. It could be the same one. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But in both of those shots, he's helmetless.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. This is a new look. It almost seemed like in The Mandalorian, once he was reunited with his armor and he had his final discussion about why it's his,
right?
The helmet was on.
Yeah. I don't know. I that didn't strike me as too odd. I mean,
well, I didn't say that was odd. I'm saying what we see in the trailer seems odd.
Yeah.
That he would switch to being helmetless.
Well, the helmetless part could be, we do see a helmet rolling, right? With looks like credits falling out or something. And, that could be his. I didn't pause it to look closely enough, but, maybe he could lose his helmet during a fight, Yeah. He finishes the fight helmetless. I have a feeling
coins rolling out of it. So, I mean, that gave a new definition to the word bucket, right?
Bucket, yeah. Yeah. Carrying around cash. I got a feeling the helmet thing is going to be a thing moving forward, right? Helmets are going to come off, and it's just going to be okay. I almost feel like season 1 of The Mandalorian almost made too big of a deal out of that. You know what I'm saying? Not so much for Boba Fett, but just in the minds of fans a little bit. And
okay, I mean, I'm taking it from, like, why the helmet during flying then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I wear it to fly, but not for combat. Like
Right.
it doesn't make sense to me. Like it seems like combat's where you'd want that shit.
Sure.
Right? Like,
Sure.
and like you said, there could be a reason why he's separated from his helmet for that sequence.
Yeah.
But it seemed odd. And it's a first take. It's a,
Yep.
it's my initial reaction. It may be and I think this is jumping into a whole nother can of worms, but I think it's a precursor, right, to what's probably going to happen in The Mandalorian.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I have a feeling Din's going to be helmetless a little more often.
Yeah.
And this is a warm up. Like, look, it's okay for Boba Fett.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And as far as like having the helmet on at the big gangster meeting, I could see that being used as a, they can't see his expressions kind of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Or as intimidation, as he says, I'm not going to rule through fear.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm doing this to intimidate.
Yeah. Yeah, because part of Boba Fett's persona is that helmet. And,
right.
He'll have to carry that on for certain occasions for sure,
All right.
It'd be interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting. I'm kind of like, what the hell?
Yeah. It looks like some of the fight shots that we got, though. It looks like that's going to get pretty intense. And, we all know that, Tim Morrison does that stuff pretty well. So it'll be fun to see.
Yeah, I like the knives out the back of Fennec's rifle. Like,
right?
Oh, that was pretty cool. So that's exciting too. It's showing that we're going to see. It wasn't just a tease that we may see more Fennec Shand. We're going to see more Fennec Shand.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
that's a character I do want to see more of. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. There was quite a few moments there that I'm like, what? I don't know what's going on, but I guess that's good because now I want to know what's going on.
Absolutely, that's the thing. As per usual, I think I think this show's gonna zag when we think it's gonna zig. It's which I like because if you can keep me guessing and it's good, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I can agree with that. All right. Where do we want to go? Okay, so The Mandalorian. Kind of a good segue.
Sure.
Bill Burr.
Yes, Bill Burr.
I got to say, I love these headlines, right?
Yeah.
You read a headline and it's Bill Burr talks The Mandalorian return for Migs Mayfeld.
Right.
And you click on the article and you get to reading and he's like, yeah, I hope it does. I hope it happens.
Yeah.
That was insightful.
Right. It is funny because, this is for a guy who's not like the biggest Star Wars fan, to be working on it or to have worked on it. This is going to
and really kind of bashes Star Wars fans, right?
Right.
I mean, the funny thing is he's kind of right?
Hey, that's part of comedy, pointing out the obvious I don't want to say flaws, but idiosyncrasies of certain groups of people and, just railing on that. That's part of comedy.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to point out his Boston accent, right? Like,
yeah, right. But
I like that. Like, really? That's what you got out of that?
This interview, every interview he does now moving forward, he's going to get asked about Star Wars. That's just how it is, whether he likes it or not. And, it's going to stick to him like glue moving forward. I'll say this. Since he does say in this, he's like, he does say, I'm obviously not allowed to say anything other than I just absolutely love being on that show and I hope it continues. And if it doesn't, I've had a blast. Right.
One, that's already kind of saying, okay, maybe.
Right.
So I'm not allowed to say anything. You're not allowed to say you're not on it. Because Sasha Banks just did that.
Yeah, that's kind of funny, isn't it? I've got a feeling that there's something there. Like maybe his part hasn't started yet, right? Because they're shooting now. And maybe, he knows he's going to be going to work on it, but he's not yet.
So he's pulling a Ewan on us.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing right now.
Exactly. We keep hearing these rumors too, right? Like this big Mandalorian war, right? And if Din Djarin knows he's going to be going into something like that, he might fall back on the old crew a little bit to get him through that. And well, I mean, makes Mayfeld is supposed to be a good shot, right?
Yeah,
he's no stormtrooper.
I mean, he done a real good job, point blank.
Right.
But I felt like those two characters did have a bond when we parted, right?
Right.
So I feel like he's a guy that Din could call on.
Yeah, I think so too.
One, he made good on his word and let him go.
Yep.
So, yeah. I think it's a very good possibility we could see him back. I thought it was humorous, right? Like, if he talks about his return, it's like,
yeah.
You didn't say Jack, man.
Right. Yeah. I hope I get to return.
Yeah, I hope I get to do
it. That is funny.
I'll tell you what, and you mentioned like comedy, right?
Yeah.
And you said he's going to get asked about Star Wars whether he likes it or not.
Yep.
I'd like to point out that he wants to come back, and if you don't let him come back, the jokes are going to get more brutal.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He's going to be like, well, no ties there anymore, so
right.
Here we go.
Yeah, and then the jokes are going to go like, man, all these freaking nerds every time, I do an interview. They ask me about Star Wars. Oh, get off the Star Wars already. Yeah, I can see it now.
Yep. All right. How about a rumor?
Sure. We like rumors.
Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Rumors are flying around about Darth Maul. And now they're gaining a little bit of steam. Other larger outlets are starting to pick up on it.
Right.
So the rumor is that there is a Darth Maul animated show in development.
Yeah.
And I guess that's an interesting way to put it. There's an animated show where Darth Maul would be a key player in development. I guess is a better way to put it.
Yeah, as I understand the rumor, it's supposed to be focused on him. Correct?
Okay. Maybe. I thought I read it a little differently. But.
Well, as I understand, it's supposed to be focused on him, possibly during him getting involved with Crimson Dawn.
Right. I did see that.
Okay.
Well, what do you think?
Well, clearly, if this is going to be a show, I'll be watching. It could kind of backfill some of the questions that we had, right? You know, when we all saw Solo and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, what's he doing here? You know, that kind of thing, which some of us kind of had an idea, you know, other people didn't. And I think, you know, if they're working on this now, this could be about the right time to come out with something like this, because Disney Plus has been around for a little bit now, and, you know, let's just say some of the people who went and saw Solo that wouldn't know exactly why Darth Maul was there, his involvement, could come back and watch this and go, oh, now I get it, you know. And it would be cool to see his whole affiliation and how it got started with them, you know.
Right. I mean, we knew how he got involved in the crime syndicates and stuff like that. Crimson Dawn proper is the real question mark.
Yeah.
See, I don't know that that's necessarily a must tell story, right?
But here's the thing, right? It's Darth Maul, you know. It's
no, I don't mean it like that. Like,
but I mean, he's such a fan favorite.
Yeah, and that's the reason to tell the stories, right? Because
that's what I'm getting at.
You know, people want to hear more Darth Maul. But like, oh, how do you get involved with Crimson Dawn? Like, you didn't even know who the hell Crimson Dawn was until Solo. Like,
right? Yes.
Like, the surprise was, hey, there's a syndicate called Crimson Dawn, and Darth Maul's in charge.
Yes.
You just found both things out right here. If you knew that Darth Maul was involved with crime syndicates, it's like, oh, okay, he must have, you know, went and did his own thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like, you know, Lucasfilm feels like this is something that needs to be told, you know, because I mean, as the rumor goes, the way I've heard it is we have Matt Lanter, D. Bradley Baker, and Sam Witwer supposedly recording something, and
they're just doing the voiceover work for the Ahsoka series.
Sure. But then the rumor goes on to state that Paul Bettany would be reprising his role as Dryden Voss.
Okay, you got me there.
Okay, good. So, you know, it's you put all those pieces back together, and, you know, I still think that some people who care enough to, like, want to know more about all that whole sequence of events in Solo would benefit from something like this, you know?
Right. I guess I was only, like, my whole, like, oh, really, you needed to know that was the whole, like, oh, how does he get involved with Crimson Dawn? It's like, well, I thought the pieces fit pretty good.
Sure.
Now, if you're saying that those people haven't seen the other stuff, I mean, that's all available on Disney Plus. If they're going to watch this, they could watch that.
Exactly.
So I thought the pieces fit pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess the question for me would be, was Crimson Dawn existing prior to Darth Maul's involvement, or is Crimson Dawn his thing?
It could be wrong, but I believe it did exist. I think he took it over.
Was it mentioned somewhere else before?
I think so, but I can't be for sure, because it would be in some sort of ancillary part of the property. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, the television shows and the movies are what I'm, like, more familiar with. So, but I believe so.
Okay. I mean, obviously, anything outside of the current canon, I feel would be null and void.
Right.
So any reference to Crimson Dawn prior to Solo, I think. Because I don't think they mentioned Crimson Dawn anywhere prior to Solo in the new canon.
Right. And that could be where I am failing here, because I the old EU, I took in a lot more than the new canon EU. So
I'm not sure. I'm not certain. It's not one of the syndicates that I was as familiar with.
right.
So it could have been around, and it just didn't click for me.
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but one thing I am sure of is if it's happening, I'm there.
All right. So there is a little bit of a backstory on Wikipedia. Doesn't really say. So it looks like it was Forerunners of Crimson Dawn were a band of ruthless mercenaries. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't say who was in charge prior to that.
Okay.
But the only leaders noted here, right, are Maul, Dryden Voss, and Lady Kira.
Okay. So then that's all we know about it so far then.
Right. I thought that was the case, but
Okay.
okay, so Crimson Dawn became a member of the Shadow Collective. So, vast criminal organization under the control of rogue Sith Lord Maul. So, at the time of the Siege of Mandalore, Crimson Dawn was led directly by Dryden Voss.
Oh.
So, it sounds like Maul usurped Voss.
Interesting. Interesting, because clearly the Voss was still involved.
Yes. Well, I mean, he probably saw the lightsabers and like, yeah, I guess I'll be second.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of how that goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, red and black. Face tattoos, horns,
Right.
lightsaber. I'm in charge now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. What do you want me to do, sir?
Of course, Dryden Voss had that color changey thing going on too.
Yeah,
The glowy
Yeah.
face.
yeah, I'd like to know more about that.
Right. And maybe we'll find out.
His mood scars?
Right. Yeah. Yes. Mood scars. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Yeah. He got angry and his scars started glowing. I'm like, whoa. That's neat.
Exactly.
You should try spinning. I heard that's a good trick.
It's funny.
And then he had those cool it's not really a dagger. I forget what those blades are called.
I think they're like a what is it, a karambit or something like that.
Yeah. Something like that. Almost like a lightsaber edge to them.
Right.
So you feel like he might have been able to give Maul a run, right? Probably still lose.
I was gonna say that's the problem. Maul can manipulate the Force. Kind of gives him an edge.
Yeah, maybe he calculated that, right? Like, I could probably put up a good fight, but
Yeah.
what the hell good's a good fight if I'm dead?
Right. Yeah. That's what everyone would
It'd
say.
be like Maul fighting Palpatine, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He gave it a good effort.
Yep. Didn't work out.
In the end, there's lightning, and you can't do nothing about lightning. Right?
Exactly.
It's like, you forgot about the finger tasers.
Finger tasers. I like it.
So, yeah, it's an interesting thought. I'd definitely watch it.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see. We'll see.
We
Something to
shall
keep an
see.
eye out for.
Definitely.
All right, Ahsoka. We're just all over today.
I know. This was interesting. This was funny. So you may have seen the rumors been dropped that shooting is going to be starting on Ahsoka in December here, and this is coming from Mark Bernardin on Kevin Smith's The Fat Man Beyond podcast. And it's a video podcast, right? So I've got to set this up a little bit because, you know, we all know and love Kevin Smith, and his reaction during this point, the part in this where he's a little silent, is the typical classic Kevin Smith, you know, Silent Bob, you know, something's amiss here, and he stops what he's doing, looks up, got the wide eyes going, and I don't know, just keep that in mind as you're listening. You'll know exactly where it's going on. So Mark Bernardin is getting ready to shoot a short film, and he said he's gonna start the second week of December. So keep that in mind as you're listening.
You helped me connect with somebody who was going to be in the cast but couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. It was Rosario Dawson. I don't know why we're being circumspect about that. She's not going to be in the movie, so it's fine. She's the busiest lady in the world.
It wasn't my story to tell, but like, I think it's so funny that you're like, fuck it was Rosario.
Only because I'm tired of not being able to say shit, because it's always very like, I'm working on a thing. Find me in 2023. But yeah, like she was the first choice, and I wanted her very, very badly. And she read the script and loved it, but she was like, listen, I'm going to be in Manhattan Beach making a fucking Star Wars show, and I can't be in your short. Which I was like, okay. That checks out. Does the world know that there's an Ahsoka Tano show that she's in? Yeah.
Eventually.
Well, yeah, I didn't say it was coming out December.
I feel like if we were to parse that information out, there's probably something in there the world didn't know until you bitterly spit it out.
That it was currently in production?
Yes. Thanks for that.
I like how he put it too. He's like, you bitterly spit it out.
Right. So,
and Kevin Smith being a writer, a director, a producer, you know, the guy who tries to minimize that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Is just like, damn, dude, really?
Exactly. That's exactly how it was. They even go on after that portion to talk about how so many of them there, you know, are, you know, like his, you know, unlike us, Kevin Smith has somebody kind of like, you know, producing his podcast for him a little bit. And he's like, you know, people, you know, I know people, we know stuff, you know, but we forget sometimes that we're talking with all these people who know stuff. And then there's all these other people who don't know stuff, you know?
Right.
So it was just kind of interesting. I really encourage you to check that out. And it was hilarious to watch, you know? So definitely, you know, that silent portion there, Kevin Smith is just kind of like, what? You know, what are you telling us? So yeah, that was cool.
Does he get the Silent Bob, like, terrified eyes? Like,
Yes, absolutely.
And then, like, point, like...
Oh, he didn't point. he was just like, they do their show in front of a live audience, and he was kind of signing some stuff for some people, and as soon as that info dropped there, he kind of stopped, looked up and had the big wide eyes, and he's like, yeah, like, probably shouldn't be saying this, but
he was looking at it because he's friends with Rosario Dawson, right?
Yes, he is.
And he gave this tip, like, oh yeah, you could, I can set you up, here's this, and now next time it's going to be like, well, when Rosario answers that call, it's going to be like, oh, well, who sent you? Kevin Smith? Oh, screw off, right? Like,
right. What's funny?
Last time Kevin Smith sent this guy, I told him I couldn't do it because I'm working on Star Wars. Here I think I'm dealing with an industry guy, and this guy goes and leaks that I'm working on Star Wars on this date. Like,
yeah. Well, they kind of talk about where, we talked about this last week, I believe, maybe the week before. I don't know. I forget. That the Hollywood Reporter reported that Hayden Christensen was going to be on the Ahsoka show. And apparently, I didn't clip it, but they said that when the Hollywood Reporter put that out, Rosario tweeted something to the effect of, hey, Sky Guy, be great to see you again. See you soon. Snips.
oh boy.
And then 8 minutes later, that tweet was deleted.
Nice.
Yes. So, I mean.
So one, Rosario's done her research.
Yeah, exactly.
And two, what's amazing is that tweet doesn't draw the ire of people anymore. Because Sky Guy and Snips used to draw the ire of a lot of Star Wars fans.
That was a brief thing.
Yeah, it got accepted relatively quickly because we're like, wow, Ahsoka's a really good character.
Exactly.
It was for like the run of the movie, and then the Clone Wars started, and everybody's like, I don't care. I like it. Sky Guy and Snips, that's great.
Yep. So, I guess they all have their own we'll just say challenges with leaks.
Right. Kevin Smith's eyes went all wide because he's like, dude, Jason Isaacs just said that Disney will cut out your tongue.
Right.
And I believe it.
Yes. Too funny.
Right, it was Jason Isaacs, right?
I believe so. Yes.
I believe it was him who said that. Like,
yeah.
Kind of true, right?
Yeah. Well, they frown upon such things. That's for sure.
Oh man. It's funny, and this is just a little quick segue. Talking about the Sky Guy and Snips thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember the rage about R2-y?
No.
Because Sky Guy and Snips was like people were like irritated, right? But R2-y seemed to really piss people off for some reason.
I mean, it sounded corny, okay, but it fit the character,
Right. She was young, right?
Exactly.
Now look at it.
Yeah.
Ahsoka's arguably like one of the most popular characters in Star Wars history.
Absolutely. Yeah, her arc spans...
Hardly arguably, right? Like,
right. Her arc spans most of what we know,
Right. And most people that, I know before were like, the Clone Wars, they saw the Clone Wars movie and they were just out, right? Like,
Right.
the Clone Wars was not on their radar anymore.
Yeah.
And after a few years went by, they went, finally went and watched the series.
Yes. There's a lot of people that like, especially when it hit Netflix, right? It hit Netflix for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when they started catching up on the Clone Wars, and it was like, it had a big resurgence. Yes.
Right. And people who were like really, really angry about Anakin having a Padawan and Ahsoka was such a dumb character and all that. I talked to him again, and it's like, dude, I love Ahsoka.
Yeah. Of course you do.
I'm like, yeah, it's a good character.
Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't listen to me for the last 7 freaking years.
Yeah. That's funny.
So, yeah.
Yeah, well.
All right.
Apparently they're shooting soon. That's, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so you had one last thing, Doug, right?
Right. This is the the rumored spy, right?
Rumored spy.
So, okay. We're all familiar with this theory of Jar Jar Binks being an evil Sith Lord, right? This theory that
some people love it.
Some people love this theory, and so much about it I just can't buy. And this next one is very similar in many ways to me, but
I disagree. I think it's much more believable.
Oh, sure. I can see why some people would think this way, but I'm not buying it. How's that? So, and I have my reasons.
Okay.
So, this theory is that Admiral Ozzel from The Empire Strikes Back was a secret rebel spy trying to sidetrack Vader and the Empire from finding the rebels and Luke Skywalker, and died a hero. Yeah. So, just to, refresh our memories, we have a little clip of the Admiral and crew.
Yes, Captain. I think we've got something, sir. The report is only a fragment from a probe droid in a hot system. It's the best lead we've had.
We have thousands of probe droids searching the galaxy. I want proof, not leads.
Visuals indicate life forms.
Could mean anything. If we followed up every lead, we could...
Sir, the hot system is supposed to be devoid of human forms.
You found something?
Yes, sir.
That's it. The rebels are there.
My lord, there are so many uncharted settlements. It could be smugglers, it could
That is the system. And I'm sure Skywalker is with them. Set your course for the Hoth system. General Veers, prepare your men.
So,
it's not a hero. He's just pretentious, right? Like,
right. So that's what I'm hearing there, is that
he's so arrogant that he's going to turn to Vader and go, "Oh, excuse me."
Yes.
But really?
Yeah.
That's your evidence?
Well, yeah, he's trying to sidetrack Vader. I don't think so. I think that he just thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And, Sith Lord or not in the room, he feels he's smarter. And, clearly we know that doesn't work out well for him.
Benedict Arnold was a secret spy who went over to be inept and help the Americans out, right? Like,
yeah. So, I don't buy that. I feel like this guy is probably, we have this vast empire, right? We have Star Destroyers everywhere patrolling. There's every big bureaucracy gets this way to where, Admiral Ozzel could be Tarkin's third cousin twice removed. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? He's like, hey, we need, Tarkin talking to the family. Ozzel needs a job. Oh, okay, fine. Admiral of this Star Destroyer, whatever,
Yeah, Vader just killed the last guy.
Yeah, sure. But that is evidenced more in this next clip, where I don't think this is Vader finding out that he's a spy. This is Vader saying, you're dumb.
You suck.
What is it, General?
My lord, the fleet has moved out of light speed. Comscan has detected an energy field protecting an area of the sixth planet of the Hoth system. The field is strong enough to deflect any bombardment.
The rebels are alerted to our presence. Admiral Ozzel came out of light speed too close to the system.
He felt surprised, was wiser.
He is as clumsy as he is stupid. General, prepare your troops for a surface attack.
Yes, my lord.
Lord Vader, the fleet has moved out of light speed and we're preparing to...
Skype joke.
You have failed me for the last time, Admiral. Captain Piet.
Yes, my lord.
Make ready to land our troops beyond their energy field, then deploy the fleet so that nothing gets off the system. You are in command now, Admiral Piet.
Thank you, Lord Vader.
Clumsy and stupid.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't think that's the way Vader would put it if he was uncovering a spy.
No, he would have said, you are a rebel spy and a traitor.
Yeah. Take him away. Yeah.
No, choke.
Right. So, I just can't buy this new theory that I've heard here. Ozzel was just put into that position for any number of reasons. Like, that's an argument being made, is that how could he become an admiral, if he's that bad at what he does? And, I have the theory that, there's imperial nepotism going on, and you had your own, right? That.
Yeah. Well, there's tons of examples of that, even in the new canon, right?
Sure.
You saw that in the very first installment in the new canon, in A New Dawn. They talked about that, the whole hierarchy a little bit.
Right.
So, yeah, there's definite nepotism.
Right.
I think it gets mentioned in the Thrawn books, right?
It may.
I'm 90% sure. 99. I'm going to go 99% sure that gets mentioned in the Thrawn books. That the hierarchy in the Empire. So once you get above mid-level, it is total bureaucracy type stuff.
Oh, yeah. You're jogging my memory.
It's definitely mentioned in the Thrawn books. It's
Yes.
mentioned in both the first series and the Ascendancy series.
Okay.
So this is a thing. And it really kind of explains away the ineptitude of the Empire.
Exactly.
Given their strength.
Yep.
If the Empire was effective in their leadership, their strength would not have been overcome.
Right. And we see so many examples from these officers all the way down to the stormtroopers that they have this feeling of quote unquote superiority, right? That, only people who are in positions of power only because they love to wield power are,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's it's a shining example of these are not the type of leaders you want to have, right? You want
and you could see Vader seeing them as expendable. Right?
Absolutely. Right. And that's your theory.
They're just going to replace it with another one. So you can just move down the line, right?
Yeah.
You can just keep going because you're not dealing with effective warriors.
Right.
You know, you're dealing with, you know, this person's friend or, you know, this, you're basically dealing with the whole ambassador situation, right? Like,
sure,
you get an ambassadorship because you donate this much money or you do this or you're
exactly
this kind of contributor. That's how it works. That's the hierarchy of the empire.
Yep.
But instead of ambassadorships, it's admirals, you know, it's admirals, it's, you know, moffs.
Yes.
You know, they mentioned that about, yeah, exactly. They mentioned that about moffs in the Thrawn series too. Like there are moffs that are moffs just because of who they are.
Right.
They were in the hierarchy before, therefore they get to be in the hierarchy after, whether it's hereditary or whatever.
Yeah. I know a guy.
Yes. So this whole idea that, oh, he could have been an admiral without, yeah, that's bogus.
Exactly. And I wouldn't put it past the Rebel Alliance to have spies working in the Imperial fleet, maybe as a mechanic, you know, something like that, you know, a ship's engineer.
This is a Hux syndrome is what this is. Hux was a spy because he hated Kylo Ren. Now everybody wants everybody to be a spy.
You know what?
Like,
I think you nailed it. I think we're starting to, you know, we love dissecting Star Wars, but I think we're starting to cut these pieces into like too small of bits here. You know, this is
right.
This is not. This is going one step beyond.
Yeah, I mean, and Vader even says, "You failed me for the last time."
Right. Which means he's
this
failed
isn't
him.
the first time. He's not a.
Right.
This isn't a first time offender. You know, he's been in court before.
Exactly. 3 strikes, you're dead.
You know, he probably got like the stern talking to before, like, and then he got the little mini choke, like he does.
Marty.
Yeah, Marty. Yeah. So you got, you know, someone's like, "Hey, stop that!" And he's like, "Oh, okay, as you wish."
As you wish. Yes.
And then he's like, "Nope, this is the last time." All the way.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Vader's system is cruel, but it's fair, right? Like it's
equal opportunity choker.
3 strikes, dude.
Yeah.
Just like baseball.
Exactly. I just the arrogance this guy shows doesn't come off as like a persona he's trying to put out there to keep him from being found out. It's he feels so self-important that he just spews that kind of arrogance.
Right.
So
it seems like a guy who, if it's not the Emperor talking to him or a Moff, right? I'm sure he wouldn't have taken that tone with Tarkin, right?
No way. That's the other part. He probably looks at Vader being on board the ship as an inconvenience.
Yes. And I've kind of gotten the impression that Vader's almost viewed as like the Emperor's assistant.
Right.
We've seen that before.
Yep.
Where it's almost kind of viewed that way. And you know, Mahdi was a good example of that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the way he spoke back with such arrogance. Vader is not like well respected.
Right.
Feared, sure. But
definitely
they almost look at him as like a underling that's even beneath them.
Yes.
They are the hierarchy.
He is definitely not understood for sure.
Right.
You know.
I mean, Marty's probably not going to do that again.
Exactly.
Because it's like, wow, that dude was across the room and just choked me. Maybe this isn't a good idea.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. I'm going to call that rumor debunked right here.
I'll go one step further.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I like it.
Yeah, I honestly think it is. Like I said Huck syndrome, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It happened once.
Right.
Now we think it can happen again.
And retrospectively, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this has never been a thing before. Not that I'm aware of.
Not to my knowledge.
Right. So, I think we're just like, we're trying to dissect things a little too far here. We don't have to tear apart the old films. They stand firm and alone on where they are, and what they were for the franchise. So,
And I mean, and if he died a hero, it literally was the most pretentious hero I've ever seen.
Exactly.
Like, if we looked at every settlement, like,
yes.
Like, really? So they got power. I guess that means they're rebels. That's basically what he's doing, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
It seems like a guy who was elevated to a position above his level of confidence.
Exactly. And Vader's way of handling that is, okay, well, we just don't need you anymore.
I mean, because any competent guy would have been like, Vader says that, and they'd be like, oh, hell, he's got the Force. Let's follow that guy.
Right. Exactly.
So, all right. So I said last thing.
Right.
But I didn't look at my list, and there's one more thing.
Yes.
So this is another one you had.
Well, this is I don't have a good source for it. I kind of heard this, and it's another rumor, but we mentioned last time.
Is it as good as Bill Burr talks about coming back to the Mandalorian?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if this is true, yeah. We talked last time about Disney Plus Day, and kind of had a rundown of things that were going to be covered, previews and this and that was going to be going on. So the rumor is a little bit more detail on the Star Wars stuff is we may actually see some footage from the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus Day. And I'm hearing that there may be another sizzle reel for Andor. So, take these with a grain of salt. Just kind of heard over the Star Wars interwebs kind of thing, but
Well, I mean, it's a rumor, but let's look at this with a critical eye, right? Like,
sure.
We were clamoring for a Boba Fett trailer.
Yes. Oh, there's a rumor that we may see a second trailer for Boba Fett.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be no surprise.
But we were clamoring for that trailer, and we're like, wow, we're so close and we haven't seen a trailer, but we're like ignoring the fact that we got a special look at it at the end of The Mandalorian.
Right.
Okay. So really we did already have our first look.
Yeah, that's true.
And we just kind of let that brush on by, right? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Andor and Obi-Wan, we haven't had any looks at. They've both, wrapped filming now?
Oh, yeah.
They're both in post?
Oh, yeah.
So, a sizzle reel for Andor, we're really right about that time, right? Like,
yeah.
It makes sense. This is about the timeline you would expect to see it. Because I don't expect that both of these shows, maybe one of them would be post-celebration. but I don't really expect them to both be post Celebration.
Right. I'm thinking, I've been hearing that Obi-Wan Kenobi may be sometime around May 4th. That's what I'm kind of hearing.
So is that first up?
I don't know that.
May 4th would tell me it probably is first up.
You think?
Just because I don't think they'll try to cram Andor in there, right? Because if Boba Fett wraps in what? How many episodes is that going to be? Probably just like The Mandalorian, 8, something like that.
I'm going to say yes, but I heard one of these shows and I forget which one. This is my fault here. One of these shows I heard is going to be 12 episodes. I know it's not Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No.
So it's either Andor or Book of Boba Fett, and I forget which.
We know Obi-Wan's not going over 6.
Right. So one of those shows is going to be 12, as I understand it. So if it's 12 episodes, you're talking 3 months.
Right.
So you figure...
I could see that being the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I could too. And if that goes 12 episodes, you're going into March.
Right.
So you don't have too long of a wait between April and May 4th. So
right. So you're not going to cram Andor in there.
Right.
And then do Obi-Wan in May.
Right.
So that's my thought. And even if it, say, was only 8 episodes.
Yep.
And it ends in the beginning of February.
Right. Still not that long of a wait.
Right. To cram Andor in there and then do Obi-Wan, that's just cramming it all too close together. It's not their style.
Agreed.
It's just not their style. They're going to let it marinate. You know, they learn their lesson with Solo. You don't
right.
You don't cram stuff in there.
Exactly.
So, and really by comparison, Solo would not be cramming it in there.
Right.
I would expect Andor to be first. Andor filmed first.
It did. But you know, I don't know.
Because Obi-Wan would just now, now be entering post.
Like I said, these are rumors, okay?
Right.
To be clear, this May 4th Obi-Wan release, you know, it's a rumor and could very well be somebody's, you know, wishful thinking, you know, because, you know, May 4th. But
it's always May 4th.
Yeah. So who knows for real, but you know, it's going to come out when it's done. You know, that's number one. And
right.
You know,
and then that's the other thing we got to factor in there, right? What other Disney properties are coming out? Because you got Eternals coming out, right?
Right.
They don't step on their other projects' toes.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, we're not just looking at Star Wars windows here. We're looking at Marvel.
That's true.
It's Disney doesn't do that.
Yeah, we're only looking at a part of the diagram here, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So, but I think it makes sense that this Star Wars special look is no longer the Book of Boba Fett.
Right. We are going to get that Boba Fett background thing.
Right.
There is that we know for sure.
I could see a trailer being attached to that.
Exactly.
And not to a Star Wars special look, because now it doesn't seem as much of a special look because we got a trailer.
Right.
I could be completely off base here. They could see it as much more special than I do.
Yes.
But I would see a special look now being a look at Andor or Obi-Wan or both.
Right.
You know, whether it just be some, like, you know, behind the scenes shots for Obi-Wan and a sizzle reel for Andor.
Yep. yeah, with both of those shows, we know shooting's been concluded. I think they are right in the prime production area to pull some footage out to show, you know.
Right. And Obi-Wan's one of those where you could just have like some talk behind the scenes, joking around, things like that. Never even show any filming.
Yeah.
Or anything that's going to be, you just show Ewan McGregor in an Obi-Wan costume.
Exactly.
And you're golden.
Exactly.
He could be laughing, talking about like motorcycles, right? And dressed like Obi-Wan, no one cares. That's all they needed.
That's all we need. That's for sure.
All we need is to see him as Obi-Wan.
Yep. And he can say, he could even come out and say, man, I love shooting in the volume, you know, and we don't care. That'd be fine.
Right. Like, and honestly, for that show, they could just do that all the way up till release. It'd be plenty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
They wouldn't even need a trailer. As ridiculous as that sounds, it would work.
It would work. But
all right.
Yes.
Oh.
No, I was just gonna say that's something to look forward to on Disney Plus Day.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Well, all right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media, @thewarsandmore on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsandmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We will talk next week.